Welcome back to the kitchen, everybody. Now, as I said last week, I've talked about the new direction I wanted to take a little bit with the channel for this year, which is all about flavor pairing and flavor combination. And we're going to be starting off here with beetroot, aka beets. I think in America it's called the beets, or I call them the beetroots. And we're going to be exploring two salads. One is a classic, which is going to be roasted beetroot with gorgonzola, walnut, a bit of rocket, and some really aged red wine vinegar. So something you've surely come across, but apparently the combination of gorgonzola, beets and vinegar is extremely good. And the second one is going to be something a bit more surprising, which is going to be a roasted beet salad with oranges, dill and tarragon. So a nice mixture of flavor, two salads to try at home. Let's go. Let's begin with the ingredients for the first salad. So we have the beets or the beetroot. They are in the oven. I'm roasting them in the oven. I'll show you exactly the techniques I've used. We've got here gorgonzola. We've got the walnuts that we're gonna toast as well. A few rocket leaves, some single origin black pepper, and this is a mix of salt from the Ile de Ré, which is an island in France, so sea salt mixed with herbe de Provence. That's got a strong thyme intonation, and that goes very well. And of course here, the aged vinegar. What really works in this flavor combination apparently is the saltiness of the gorgonzola with the beetroot. So our first salad, beetroot and gorgonzola. We're going to be washing the rocket, reserve it in the bowl, place in the fridge. The walnut, we're going to toast this on a tray, 180 degrees in the oven for just a few minutes to release the aroma. And the gorgonzola, you can slice it, but we're going to use a pair of tweezers to these kind of informal little chunks that we're going to place. We're going to be plating that starter, okay? So it's not something we're going to be tossing together. We're going to use that plate here, lay down the beetroots and place the ingredient on top, and then the dressing. And let me show you the beetroots. So the beetroot, the way I'm roasting the beetroot, very simple. Coating of salt, olive oil, wrapped up in a foil, and about an hour 15 minutes in the oven. Okay, these are organic beetroots. The skin is still on, and I'm going to leave them to cool down a bit, and then we're going to peel them. And this one, for that first salad, we're going to slice it, use it a mandolin, so you have something nice and neat. So for this first starter, this first salad, I'm going to be slicing thinly those beetroots. I'm going to be using a mandolin. You can use a knife, but the mandolin is going to give you something really even. So I'm going to do this off camera because beetroots are really messy. It's going to be everywhere. And then we're going to put them on that plate and soak them in a bit of vinegar to make sure we've got that tanginess going. So I've tried two beetroots. One that I had was actually a bit too thin. I was thinking of a carpaccio of beetroot, but because they're well cooked, they almost break a little bit. And this is the thicker version. So the advice, if you use a mandolin, go for the thicker slices. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very hard to handle. But anyway, let's add the acidity. So I've got my beetroot on here. And what I'm going to do is have my aged vinegar. And I'm really going to almost marinate. So this is the first plate that I've got. And here, let me show you, it's a bit messy on that one. Okay, this is the other one, the thinner slices. But I'm going to do the same. So we're just adding plenty of vinegar to brine these and make sure they're really, really tangy. Alright, so this is how it looks like before the plating. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to transfer these on a plate so they dry a little bit. Otherwise, for the plating, we're going to have juice everywhere. And I'm going to start to lay out the beetroots in a row like this. I'm going to do this off camera because, again, it's very messy. And then we're going to go on with the plating by adding the simple pieces of gorgonzola, some rocket leaves, some walnuts, the drizzle of olive oil, some pepper, and we will be done. Let's go. So here we are. Just went ahead and add a bit of rocket as well, and I've tossed it in a little bit of olive oil to give some shine, but we've got a bit of a shape going on. So it's going to be pretty straightforward for that one. I'm just going to take my piece of gorgonzola, which is meant to be that superb pairing with beetroot. Let's follow up with, so these are the toasted walnuts that we have. So you can cut them a bit smaller if you want, but I'm just going to put a bit of a drizzle here and there. Up. So just going to do a bit of a drizzle of olive oil on there. I love olive oil. And now I'm going to add some extra vinegar. So the vinegar here plays a very important role. It's a key to that dish. So seasoning, I've got the salt I've talked about from the Ile de Ré. It's got some thyme in there, not too much. And a touch of heat with the pepper. And remember, the rocket is also, or arugula is also peppery. And that's it, we're done. So that's exciting. This is the first salad. This is the roasted beetroot with gorgonzola, walnuts, rocket, and aged red wine vinegar. And we're now ready to make the second salad. And at the end, I'll be trying both to see exactly what is this experience all about. For the second salad, you can see it's not much ingredients, but it's an interesting combination of flavor. So we're gonna have the beetroots roasted, of course, but they're gonna be served with orange, so orange quarters that are gonna be cut into supreme, there'll be no skin, a hint of orange juice, some orange zest, fresh tarragon from the garden, and fresh dill. Of course, the vinegar, olive oil, a bit of salt and pepper. So I'm really looking forward to that one as well. For the mise en place for our second salad, we're gonna have to create the supreme of orange, which is quarter of orange without any skin on. So we're gonna use the whole orange, and you can be generous and cut really one end, so you really expose the flesh. I didn't do a superb job, but the whole idea is basically with your knife from here, then to try to go around and to cut your orange to expose all of that lovely flesh here. So once you're done, you clean your workstation, you clean your hands as well. You've got basically this orange, and you can see these pieces of skin. You can see the quarters. So all what we're gonna do here is to try to follow with the knife just behind each piece of skin. And what we end up is with a quarter that is totally skinless. So once you're done, you're going to use the core that was left, and you can use 2 forks and you press the juice, and this is what I've done. You see, I've got my quarters. So these are really skinless quarters of oranges, and they're going to be perfect with the beetroot because there's no resistance of, you know, chewy kind of flesh. It's going to really melt in the mouth, and that's going to help to create that experience. Now the chives, very important for that experience. You don't want something too chunky, so you're gonna really want to use a good knife, and you just do it as small as you can. So you're really gonna do this chive very, very thinly. Now the tarragon is actually not French tarragon. This one is the Mexican style tarragon that Kate has been growing. She's a bit of a gardener here in the French Cooking Academy. And it's much more resilient than the French tarragon, and it's very, very fragrant, and it grows as a bush. It's a little bit more tough, so you have to cut the end of the leaf when you detach one. But I'm gonna cut some here, very thinly, and then pluck some fresh leaves that are nice and firm off the little bush that I've got in the garden there just for the plating. But here, same thing, you've got your leaves and nothing special. We're just gonna go very small, and this is super fragrant, so we have to be careful. Now, as you can see, I've just peeled and quartered my beetroot, but what we need to do first is to add some flavor to the whole thing. So we're gonna have our beetroot on here, on the bits, okay, and then we're gonna add some seasoning. Seasoning, or what we're gonna do is basically almost, I would say half a tablespoon. I'm using actually apple cider vinegar, so we want to go very easy, otherwise it's going to drip everywhere. And I'm also going to add the same amount of orange juice that I've reserved in here, and a drizzle of olive oil. Okay, not much. And I'm just going to toast this and leave this to infuse slightly just before the plating when we're ready. We've got all the elements ready. We're now ready to plate, and we're going to be using what's called in the industry the stacking method. The best thing to stack things up is to use a food ring. That's going to help you greatly. So I've put my beetroots in a little sieve on here to have them to drain. So I'm going to try to delicately place my beetroots first. You just keep this, and it's going to really help us to have things to stay in a kind of an organic shape. All right, so we got our base, very dark. So we're gonna try to lighten up things. So I've got my little quarter of oranges, and I'm gonna get these tweezers. So we're gonna add a sprinkle of the special salt that I've got. So we're gonna try to keep things on top. I'm gonna add a bit of pepper, so we want the seasoning in there, okay? But then, of course, we're gonna have a little portions of chives and our little tarragon on here. Now the quarter of oranges were a bit too small, so we decided to change them and not have all of the things on, so it pops a bit more. So now we've got really the core of the oranges, with the layer of beetroots below, we've got all the flavors, and what's missing, it's a drizzle of juice and oil. Now, olive oil here is what we can use for this because it's like, you know, everybody's using that. But the best would be to use a drizzle of walnut oil or hazelnut oil. That will come really great. But what we can do here, it doesn't matter. We're just going to use some olive oil and a very light drizzle around, and I'm going to do the same by having a little bit of orange juice on there, and just to add a splash of citrus in here. Right, but there we have it. This is the beetroot salad roasted with oranges, orange juice, chives and tarragon. It's going to be delicious. And now time for the tasting. That's my favorite part of all. And call me old-fashioned, but I've actually never tried that particular salad combination with the beetroot and the gorgonzola and walnut or hazelnut. So I'm quite curious. Now, by the time I make the other one, it's aged a little bit, all the stuff in here. But what it is said is really that the vinegar, the beetroot, and the salty cheese, like a gorgonzola, is meant to be a match made in heaven. So let's have a look. Piece of rocket. Now, I actually really enjoy the mixture of walnut and gorgonzola on this. That is a really good match. And the beetroot in the background, you see. And now for something totally different, so this is a more complex flavor. I think the first one was a classic walnut, gorgonzola, or salted cheese. Now this is the beetroots with lots of herbs, but most importantly, orange. So I'm gonna try to, get a piece of beetroot, a piece of orange, full of little herbs, tarragon, and some chives in here, and see what it's all about. Yeah, okay, so this is the type of thing that really takes you by surprise. Now that's a great combination. I could have put more tarragon in there. Let me add some more. There we go, so that was a whole few leaves. I want to feel that anisey feel with the orange and the beetroot in here. Let me try it again, plenty of herbs. Well, that's what I'm talking about. Now that is special. So tarragon, I can't feel the chives too much. The freshness of the beetroot that's been sitting in a little bit in the fridge. Plenty of tarragon actually works really well, and when it mixes with the oranges, that is restaurant quality. And this is the thing you absolutely get in a restaurant, and you'll be taken by surprise. You say, whoa, that is special, beautiful. So what's the verdict? Dish number one, I would say that yes, gorgonzola and walnuts absolutely pairs well together. I think the gorgonzola is a bit of an easy choice, an easy pick for a salty cheese, because we always pick gorgonzola, it's in all the shops. I was not too convinced that the beetroot with the gorgonzola and walnut really, make me feel like, wow, this is amazing with the vinegar. I would have much preferred to try this maybe with another blue cheese, another flavor profile. Maybe, like I said, a Stilton, a Fourme d'Ambert from France, a Roquefort, or even some other salty cheese, maybe a bit more crumbly, maybe not even a blue cheese, maybe some other types of cheese to have a little bit of that dryness in there. But that's for the one dish. The second one, which is actually the one I've picked myself because it really intrigued me, and I had a feeling that this combination of orange with the tarragon, with the herb, would really bring that explosion of flavor, and it absolutely did. And I think this is definitely, out of the two, my favorite. And the mixture of beetroot, orange, and tarragon, that works super well, and it is that kind of taste you'll find in restaurants, and you come at home and say, I never eat this at home. So try the second version if you want to really something that is gonna, kind of give you the wow factor, and tell me what you think in the comment section. But that completes our little episode here on a flavor combination. I hope you like it, and we're gonna do do a few videos. I want to explore a little bit to see what works, because it is really interesting, and it's just about ingredients purely and how to combine them, which is great. But that's it for the video. We'll see you all next week, of course, on the French Cooking Academy. As I said, How Course the Chef List is available. Don't miss out if you want to recreate that dining experience at home. As for me, I will see you next week. Take care all. Bye-bye.
My appetite, don't leave me here high and dry.